Okay, I think we can get started. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Crypto Pulse Weekly, weekly debrief of the cryptocurrency markets. Sorry about that feedback from the YouTube live stream. So, as usual, we'll go through the market updates. We'll have a look at what's happening in terms of the trends and the indicators. We'll talk about the market capitalization and a few other things. Then we go into the technical analysis and then take crypto deep and question and answers. So without much ado, let us get started. Welcome once again to Crypto Pulse Weekly. Hope you've had a nice week. Glad to have you on board. So let's roll. So this week, we seem to confirm what we already knew from last week, which was that we had hit the bottom of the bear market correction in this bull run, which effectively signifies the beginning of the second half of the bull run. However, this bull run seems to have taken up an hybrid position between the 2013 and the 2017 bull run. So there are a number of peculiarities to expect in the coming weeks. Needless to say that we're going to have a very rapid second half. Most likely, the bull run will be over before we could say Jack Robinson, but the price appreciation will be significant. So, talking generally in terms of volatility, we flipped the 200-day moving average. What's the importance of a 200-day moving average? Most institutional investors believe that anything trading below a 200-day moving average is in a bear market. And if this were to happen during a proper bear market, I mean, we will be in that bear market for a while because until you cross out of 200-day moving average, generally the signal is bearish. However, because we're in a bull run, and we sort of know we're in a bull run from a fundamental perspective, it was impossible to say that that was the end of the bull run. I mean, there were a number of people that said, we can be in that bear market for the next 4 years, that Bitcoin still has time. But apart from the fact that the market is a creature of history and a creature of habits, we had the on-chain data, which I kept mentioning all through April, May, and June and July, that was showing that even though the price was being suppressed, quote unquote, we were literally gaining more in terms of user adoption. The number of people owning blockchain, I mean, Bitcoin wallets was increasing by the day, at the same time as the number of exchanges outflow from Bitcoin was reducing. So now, because we flipped 200-day moving average, that is a bullish signal across board. There's only one more thing left before you start seeing the price, in a full-blown run. And that's for us to flip 47K. Once we flip 47K, because it's a long-term resistance, it was a long-term support before we, went down to the 29 and 28. Once we flip 47K, it's going to be an all-commerce affair because that is where the bulls are sitting. So right now, we have confirmed the local bottom as we did last week, and the bullish sentiment is gradually returning. Even the bears are beginning to agree that, okay, we might have hit a local bottom with the 28K, 29K debacle. On the regulation side, we have news that Iran is planning to create a framework to allow cryptocurrency exchanges to operate in Iran. It goes without saying that they need cryptocurrency, even though initially they sent out messages that they were banning crypto activities. But really and truly, nobody ever succeeded, or no government ever succeeded with a ban across board, even when, things like alcohol was banned in places like United States in the 18th and 17th century. It became a smuggling item. So there's no effectiveness that can be gained by banning anything for that matter. So I think it's a smart move on the end, because it means that they might be able to sidestep the United States, what's it called? The sanctions that they have from the United States. So I think it's something to ponder about for them. Please, if you can't hear me, let me know by sending me a chat. I'm trying on some new set of noise cancellation microphone, and I'm not sure whether my voice is clear enough, especially for people on Zoom. For people on Instagram, they'll be fine. So if I'm not clear enough, please do let me know. Um, in terms of US, there was last weekend. I mean, there was this buzz last weekend about a Senate bill that was being passed that was trying to squeeze crypto regulation in, which was an infrastructure bill. It was a bipartisan deal in the US Senate that was supposed to, bring a lot of development to the technological space. But in the same vein, they were hoping to tax the cryptocurrency in a relatively nascent sector um, to get funding for the. I mean, it sounds very crazy. So it sounded very crazy to me. A sector that you had no clue about. Many of them didn't really know about. I mean, statistics are like less than 5% of the Senate knew anything about cryptocurrencies. Meanwhile, they were trying to pass a bill to derive tax from what they literally had no understanding of. So it was a big issue over the last weekend, and crypto Twitter was all over the place, asking people to call their senators and all that. Well, two things to consider. Even if you all went through, they passed the bill in Senate after a lot of noise. Even if it goes through with the House, this doesn't get implemented until 2023. We're talking next bull run. So really, I don't see, why there was so much fuss about it. But what I suspect will happen is if if the legislation get passed, it is going to get overruled by an amendment. And I'll explain my thinking. You see, the United States government is operated on the principle of lobbying. Lobbying is a very sophisticated word for corporate corruption, but that's what it is in the United States. That's what the democracy is about. The democracy is about who has the most lobbying power and can out campaign each other. Now that the institutions are getting in, what it means is that they are becoming stakeholders directly or indirectly in the Bitcoin network. Much more than that, because they're stakeholders in the Bitcoin network and they'll be deriving commission from charges and all that, they have automatically become defenders of the universe, or defenders of the Bitcoin network and the cryptocurrency industry as a whole. And because those guys have the deepest pockets, they're going to silence. I mean, Wall Street's going to silence the legislation very quickly. So I'm really not concerned about it. The techies are very concerned. Many of the guys who are Silicon Valley ex crypto guys were really angry about it, that it was going to stifle innovation. I don't think so. I think somebody will come up with an amendment that will clear all the issues once people start to see and understand what cryptocurrency is. But it was so, was a big event over the last weekend, and everybody was shouting about it that the regulation is going to kill crypto in America. And I mean, guys are like, you know what? If America doesn't, like it, we'll take it to other places. Anyways, the same thing is happening in South Korea, by the way. They're also looking to extend their crypto regulation in such a way that, you know, it not only affects you if you're in South Korea, but if you're a South Korea citizen and you're involved outside the shores of South Korea, they can apply the same laws. What this tells us is that this is becoming mainstream and it's not going anywhere. That is what that's what this is telling us. And I've just gone taking time to explain the two scenarios because we need to understand that this is here to stay. And as a matter of fact, it might be 1996 all over again. What do I mean? In 1995, 96 was when Netscape became the first company that went public as an internet company. What kickstarted what is now widely known as the dot-com era. That dot-com era was kickstarted by Wall Street finding out that you could actually make money off the internet because Netscape went public and they raised billions in a very short period of time. And because of that, we have all the companies we have today, from Facebook to Google to Amazon and everybody else in between, because of that moment. So I think we're approaching that moment now in the crypto space. And I think it's a good thing on a general note, because when the internet was created, nobody had any use case or thought about the commercial use case of the internet or using the internet for e-commerce. But now, internet has become the centerpiece of e-commerce, and blockchain is providing the opportunity to program money and transfer of value into the internet. So I think it's a good thing. So the first news of today that I wanted to carry was the news of Cardano. If you're a Cardano holder, you'll have seen that your bag's already swelling. Um, I had a trade in Cardano. That trade must have been 8 weeks or thereabouts old. And at some point, it was negative 200 and something percent. And I was like, this Cardano is just a crazy count. I mean, crazy token. And, I was going to close the trade, but I knew that, it will always bounce back. But it was just stubbornly sitting at 1.3 or 1.4 for a very long time. And all of a sudden, in the space of 26 or 48 hours, it's gone from 1.4 to 1.5, 1.5 to 1.7, and all of a sudden it's $2. Um, Meanwhile, I mean, what's really happening is that Cardano is ready for an upgrade. The upgrade is going to make the smart contract platform of Cardano available to everybody. It's basically going to bring the contract to mainstream. However, it's dependent on the announcement of the what's this called? Hodgkins, what's the name of this guy? The founder of Cardano. If that upgrade doesn't take place, I think we're gonna see a very sharp decline in the price of Cardano. That is not to say that Cardano is not headed for anywhere between $5 and $10 in the next few months. Because in the next few months, we're going to end this bull run with a massive blast off, like crazy blow off top. In terms of Bitcoin's own metrics, something also happened last weekend. So there's this long-term indicator called the hash ribbons. The hash ribbons is almost like a weekly indicator here, if I remember very well. It's a weekly indicator, an on-chain indicator that flashes by when you have the end of accumulation on a long-term frame. For context, the last time this particular indication flashed by was when Bitcoin was around 9K and then started going up from there. So everybody saw that last week. Everybody was like, oh, yeah, this is a go. And even though some people are still waiting for 200 moving average, it was a no-brainer that once that flashed by on the on-chain metrics, a lot of institutional investors were going to settle in. And that's exactly what happened. We saw a lot of institutional buyers taking positions for as low as 32, 33K. Now, on top of that, the hash rate difficulty, which is the difficulty of processing transaction on the Bitcoin network, has jumped twice in the last 3 weeks. What that means is that more miners are either in the network, or the miners that left China have found their way to, set up somewhere else. That's the direct interpretation. So the way hash rate works is that if you have a lot of miners on the pool, the algorithm will recalculate all the nodes and then make the difficulty adjust to the number of miners. For guys that don't understand, the technicalities of this, for a blockchain like Bitcoin, the way Bitcoin is mined is that the computer sends out a coded message, or the network, not the computer, the application on the network, which is the Bitcoin network, sends out an application code, which is like an encrypted code every 10 minutes. And the first machine that is able to decode that puzzle is the one that gets to approve the transactions for that block. So consider a block like a batch of goods. So a block is like a batch of transactions that happen within a 10-minute period. The block timing for Bitcoin is every 10 minutes. Now, the block size can increase or decrease depending on how many transactions are being processed at that time. However, if the number of miners reduce, because there are now less miners, Bitcoin automatically adjusts itself to the number of miners that are available to process Bitcoin transactions. So what happened when the China ban was going on was that hash rates dropped because the processing power dropped by 30% because those miners had to shut down and had to move out of China predominantly. So now the narrative is that many of them have found solace in surrounding countries like Turkmenistan, Belarus, no, not Belarus, all these countries around China and Russia. And now that they are beginning to set up and they're beginning to come back online. What it means is that hash rate goes up. When hash rate goes up, it also means that the cost of mining Bitcoin goes up, which means Bitcoin has to sell higher because miners can't afford to be selling at a loss. So they will usually have to wait for the price to go up before they make their sales. So whether we like it or not, along with every other thing, this will automatically push up the price. Lastly, I've been talking about this outflow out of exchanges for almost 4 or 5 weeks now. We're losing about 30 to 35,000 bitcoins out of exchanges every single week, and that's been happening for the last 6 weeks. By the way, I mean it's just a matter of time before it starts to have its effects. If you are losing the available Bitcoin circulation from exchanges, the exchanges will have to sell based on what they have. It's a simple principle of demand and supply. The lower the demand, the lower the price. The higher the price, or the lower the supply, the higher the price. The higher the demand, the higher the price. So now, supply is reducing, demand is reducing, demand is increasing because price has started going up. So we expect that price will continue going up because of this dynamics. In another news, Chainlink launched their Oracle on Arbitrum network. If you don't know Chainlink, I believe most people on the call know Chainlink, but the benefit of those who don't know Chainlink is what I can call an Oracle application on the blockchain. What does that mean? An Oracle application helps to collect information outside of the blockchain and make it available to the blockchain. I'm going to get a bit technical, but for me to explain what an Oracle does, I need to explain to you how blockchains are configured. Blockchains are like closed-ended loops. What do I mean? The information on the blockchain cannot leave the blockchain. It can be read off the blockchain, but think of the blockchain as a circuit, an unbroken circuit. So all the information keeps going around. Now, people can join that circuit, but you can't, as it were, pull out information from the circuit. You can just copy information from the circuit, really. So because the blockchain itself, it's a closed entity, it's difficult for the blockchain or most blockchains to pick information from the real world. What do I mean real world? So if you have a processing blockchain like Solana or Cardano or Ethereum, and you need information on, let's say, the price feed of an asset, you can't get the price feed of an asset on the blockchain. You need to get the information from outside the blockchain. So what the Oracle does is to get the information from outside the blockchain. In purely technical terms, or in IT terms, you consider them like middlewares or web services that will get you information from outside of your domain. So that's what Oracle applications or Oracle blockchain applications are. So Chainlink is one of the biggest in terms of market cap. There are quite a number of them. You have people like Tello and on the Polkadot network. I can't remember the other guys now, but quite a number of blockchain applications. So now that these guys are launching another network, you can expect the price of Chainlink to significantly appreciate. I mean, in the coming days, I think we'll probably see anywhere between $50 to $100 change if the price moves fast enough before the end of this bull run. Next is the story of the central bank digital currency. If you remember last year, I think it was last year, November, I mentioned that South Korea was planning to pilot central bank digital currency early in 2021. So apparently they've gone ahead with that CBDC pilot. Apparently, I think it got into a stage now where they're considering hardware integration. And Samsung, of course, Samsung is South Korean. Has offered to provide partnership with them on that pilot. What does this mean? This pilot is to test whether central bank can deploy their own digital currency in place of normal paper money. If this works, I mean, it's quickly going to become the model around the world. It goes without saying. Like you hear our Nigerian people telling us about them trying to deploy central bank digital currency. I'm sure they're just looking up to people like South Korea or China to copy from them. But basically, what this is it allows the government to, issue their currency and have full control. And if it works well, it means with your Samsung phone, you can have your money directly on your phone or accessible directly on your phone from anywhere. Of course, once it works with Samsung, I expect Apple to fall suit very quickly. But I think this is in the final stages now. They're planning to do this with Samsung Galaxy phones. I think they'll probably roll it out in beta next year. Another news that was making around the last 4 weeks was this interesting blockchain hacker. So just to explain, because people will say, okay, but you say blockchains are secure. How did it get hacked? Blockchains are secure, yes. However, when you have blockchains that are interacting with things like decentralized wallets or decentralized finance applications, which if you took my DeFi class, you understand what that means. For DeFi to work, you need to expose your wallet to the blockchain. You need to expose information from your wallet to the blockchain. So for many of the DeFi applications, one of the downside risks is that because you need to expose your wallet, if somebody mistakenly gets your wallet key by any chance, while you are conducting maybe your computer has been compromised, or you don't use VPN when you're using DeFi or something like that, what it means is the person can just harvest your funds because it eventually means they have the key to move your funds. It's like you having a security safe in the middle of the bank and somebody has the key and has your fingerprint and biometric passports to get the funds. So this guy found a vulnerability on one of the smart contracts and he drained the smart contract of $600 million. Of course, it was a huge noise. Everybody was shouting, this is bad for crypto, blah, 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 blah. But I mean, in normal or in recent crypto fashion, the guy was immediately tracked down because immediately he tried to withdraw some of the funds into an exchange. His digital footprint was immediately tapped, and like people are like, okay, we already know who this guy is, or we already know where this guy is. We've seen that he's moved the money around and he's tried to use it on an exchange. And because of that, all attention went to the guy, and it became a joke actually during the weekend because what then happened was that people were sending the guys messages through Ethereum transactions. So it's almost like the section of the blockchain where you can put comments. People are sending messages, and the guy was responding to them. That was how the guy responded that he only took it because he saw a vulnerability. He didn't need the money. I think that's cock and bull story. He just probably changed his mind because he found out that it's, it's like a Yoruba proverb that says, "The person who takes the king's trumpet, where is he going to blow it?" Because it's a king's trumpet. It's unique, very conspicuous. You can't hide it. Or or if you took let's imagine you took one of the Queen of England's one of those very old Rolls Royce. Everybody will know that. I mean, this is the Queen's right. Where did you get it from? So exactly that's what happened. I mean, interestingly, there was a note from the Poly Network guys themselves on Twitter sending a message to the guy, please return this, fund. It's a lot of money and the biggest in the history of crypto. There is no way you're going to be able to spend this money. So please return it kindly. Of course, the guy, came back and said it was all fun, but I don't think so. The guy wanted to make away with the money, and immediately he saw that, he was going to get caught. Whichever way he tried, he backed down, which is another testament to the transparency of the cryptocurrency industry. I think this actually strengthens the use case for cryptocurrency in financial settlement because what it means is that you can't just steal money. If you did this in a normal bank, you could move the money. I have friends who are hackers. They can move the money from They can move the money from, let's say, Nigeria, move it to Cyprus, and make it appear that the hacker was in Russia. Meanwhile, the hacker was seated in Nigeria. That's how good normal traditional hacking can be. They can spoof you all around with IP pinging, and you think that the hacker is seated somewhere else. Meanwhile, the probably seated in the next door. But for crypto, because the data is easily accessible on the blockchain, and everybody has a copy of the data, it's very, very difficult. Can crypto hackers be prosecuted? Yes, they can be prosecuted. Why not? They are stealing. And if you can prove it in the court of law, which you can, then it becomes a crime. Which, I mean, that's the same thing that happened for the one that the guys that tried to hack, not tried, that hacked KuCoin. They hacked KuCoin for about 70 or $80 million. By 2 weeks later, they got him back almost like 90% of the money. The one they didn't get back were the ones the guy had expended on DeFi exchanges. But they caught the guy, they caught one of the guys. I don't know, maybe the guy settled out of court or something, but they didn't carry the story again. But the same thing has happened. Even the original hack that happened for Binance in way back 2018, 2017, the guys couldn't use the funds because when they moved the Bitcoin, their wallet became blacklisted. When the wallet becomes blacklisted, it means that the Bitcoin, the blockchain itself will warn you that you can't send money to this wallet or you can't collect money from this wallet. So really, I think this is the best thing that's happened to the world of finance. They don't know it yet, but it will be obvious very, very soon. So it's a good one for the crypto community, generally speaking. Another interesting news for sports lovers or lovers of football. If you've been paying attention to the news, you understand that the footballing legend Lionel Messi had to leave Barcelona because Barca is broke. And I thought he was going to Monaco only to find out that okay, it was PSG that was going. So now that he's gone to PSG, we found out that part of his remuneration package is PSG token. If you don't know what PSG token is a fans token for PSG. Um, I know people that trade PSG tokens, they just watch out for, when they think the price is going to go up, maybe before a match, they buy it and just as the match is finishing, they sell it off. But because of that, the price of PSG has gone up. I can't remember let me check. Hold on a second. I think the price of PSG token has gone up significantly because of Messi. Because even that number 30 jersey that is holding sold out in, I think, in less than 1 hour. The jersey was completely sold out. The one hand having is the number 30 jersey. So I can imagine how people will be with the token right now. Excuse me. Yeah. So initially, when it did go up. I remember it went up to 49.9, almost $50 when that news came out. It's back to about 30, it's about 41 now. But I mean, this is something that used to be in the range of 12, $10. So it's pumped. Messi has pumped the price of the token because he's going to get part of his remuneration in PSG token. Good for him, I think. Another news I wanted to talk about was the state of Wyoming. The state of Wyoming is an interesting U.S. state because it's generally considered as a rural state within the United States. But what they've done that's outstanding is that they've been the ones at the forefront of pioneering most state level legislature within the United States. So most of the laws that everybody is using right now or tweaking are based on what has been passed in the state of Wyoming. As far back as August, September last year, Wyoming had given Kraken, two other guys, banking charters, crypto banking charters, which were considered national or state charters within the state of Wyoming, which allowed them to, set up business and operate like a bank. On top of that, they actually encourage a lot of crypto startups to join and set up business in the state of Wyoming. I mean, it's not like they love crypto. It's just that they see an opportunity to make money, which makes sense, and they're positioning themselves over and above people like California and even Florida that are known for tech. I think what people are now saying is that the legislative framework will be a good, if you will, pilot for what crypto regulation should be. And I think that's what's going to happen. People are going to use them as case study. Same thing, people are going to use El Salvador as case study as time goes on to, know how to regulate and know how to intervene in terms of government's management of crypto. So that's all I have to cover in terms of news. In terms of our coin spotlight, I'm going back to Solana. And the reason I'm going back to Solana is because Solana is going to be one of the Ethereums in the next 4 years. Why do I say so? Of all the smart contract applications, blockchain applications outside Ethereum, Solana has been the one that's raised the largest amount of funds to be committed to research and development. What that means is that they're going to provide a very large framework and infrastructure that's going to give them opportunity to scale faster than most of the other blockchains that are available. So yes, Solana is probably about $40 right now, but I think it's something you should consider for the longer term. It might crash to, I don't know, maybe $30 or $20 at the peak of the bear market. But by the next bull run, Solana might be selling in thousands of dollars. Of course, not a financial advice, but it's something I think we need to keep your eye on. So for personally, it's one of those coins that I'll just be stacking it little by little as we go in the bear market 2022 upwards, because I think it has a very strong use case and there's a lot of institutional funds already committed. The more the institutional funds, the more the institutional opportunities. It's just like when you have a a venture-backed startup. A venture capital-backed startup has more chances to succeed because they can leverage on the network of that venture capitalist. One, to get business. Two, to get investment. So they go for initial funding, they run for 2 years, go for mezzanine, they run for another 2 years, go for Series B. Before you know it, 6 years' time, the same venture capitalists have taken them to the public. So in the same way, I see Solana as already taking a significant amount of investment, and I think that's going to pay off in the years to come. It's not specific for this bull run, as I've said, but something to keep on the long term. Having said that, I did mention that for people who are attending the class tomorrow, I'm going to drop a coin that can give you a cool 5x before the year runs out. So please remind me for people taking the class tomorrow. I promise to give you that coin so that you can act quickly and take advantage of it before the bull run runs out. In terms of our crypto vital signs, we can see, obviously, we've gained another 200 billion, 201 billion in the last 1 week. 100 of it happened in the last 48 hours, I must say. And we're now close to 2 trillion. At the lowest ebb this year, we were sitting on the verge of 1.28 trillion. So in the space of 8 weeks, we've closed the gap. We're almost at 2 trillion. By next week or upper week, I think we'll be at 2 trillion. By the time we get to 2 trillion, Bitcoin will be dangling around almost 1 trillion in market cap. But that's where we are currently. We've made some gains in terms of altcoins as well. So it's always important to keep a tab on this, because this tells you the level of money flow. What I think we're going to see is we will see probably 3.4, 4 point something trillion or thereabouts before the year runs out. Because now that we're in the second half of the bull run, we're expecting to have a blow off top. Blow off top means the price just goes vertical, and then you have a drop, a retest, and then a smackdown, essentially. And as you can see, our greed and fear index has started responding to the change in tide. So we've seen from 4 weeks ago where we were here, fear, we were in extreme fear, 21, a month ago. We're now back at greed just in 4 weeks. So it tells you that the sentiment is back. So again, for people who are waiting to buy Bitcoin, well, you missed the opportunity to buy the dip. I cried enough. Well, if you didn't buy the dip, then too late. You can't buy the dip now. You can only buy at current price because even at current price, you still make a decent 100% of your investment. Before the year, I mean, definitely, maybe 200% actually. 100% is conservative at this point. Um, so that's that about sentiment. Where are we? So I would say that I would say that on the longer term, and I usually try to break this down into the short term and the longer on the longer term of the overall cycle. I think we are here. But in the shorter term, I think we're in disbelief because so many people still think that this is probably a bull trap, that probably we're still in bear market. But history suggests otherwise, on-chain metrics suggest otherwise. Like I will explain during the class tomorrow, there's a timing of the halving that correlates with all-time highs in terms of number of days. And it shows us that it tells us exactly which day range. I mean, I'm talking about days that we can expect the bull runs to come to an end. And once we hit those days, whatever is happening on the market is just like extra time because it means that we've come to the end of the bull run for that particular period. Yes, I agree with you that it's too early for the index to be greedy, but we're going to move through this very, very quickly. Last time I said we were thrilled. Lukman said he believed that we were at euphoria because he was euphoric. I wasn't euphoric. The SOPR wasn't euphoric. On-chain data didn't show that we were euphoric. In fact, we were just about on the verge of getting into euphoria on-chain data before that flash dump happened and everything went down. So now we're going to see proper euphoria. I'm telling you, every single person is going to be talking about Bitcoin. Then 3 weeks after that, the price will just disappear. And everybody, yeah, Bitcoin has crashed 80%. But then the price has gone ballistic before then. So yeah, I expect that we will we will breeze through optimism, belief, and trail to euphoria very quickly. And I mean, based on projection as well, I think the cycle is going to be faster in terms of how we get to all-time high than what we've had before. So let's look at the charts. The first chart I think is okay. No, the first chart I think is the Bitcoin daily chart. So I usually try to let me remove this thing to not confuse the viewers at home, as they say. Um, I usually try to plot the daily chart in terms of wave theory, which means you have an impulse, correction, and impulse. If you use that theory, it means that this is an impulse, you've had a correction, this is another impulse. This correction is not sure. It doesn't look like we're there yet. I think the second impulse is probably going to take us to 50K, very much so. Then we'll probably take another correction down to maybe 47 or 48 before shooting upward for all-time high. Why do I say so? Well, that's wave theory. In wave theory, Elliott wave theory, that's useful across all commodities and assets. You have 5 waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you have an ABC correction wave. So right now, I think we're going through uh, wave three of on the daily charts. On the weekly charts, I think we're about to commence wave three on the weekly chart, and I'll explain. I had it plotted on. Okay, let me explain my thought process here. So if I use this, which is a impulse wave, I would say that from March last year, we've taken one leg up and I've taken another leg down. If that is the case, it means that 28K was a bottom for a long time to come. Sorry, I need to change my chart to remove auto so that I can plot it properly. Now, by the rules, wave three cannot be the shortest wave, and usually wave three can go as far as double the original length of wave one. So let's say wave three was here, which is yeah, which is around here actually. I think wave three should be anywhere above 100K on the weekly charts. What that means is that when we're going to have a dump back to wave four, we're probably going to have that done during the bear market, and our lows will probably be around either 65 or 50s. Then with five, my chart can go as high as. Then with five, I mean, we'll go to maybe like 500K or the 1 million plus. But generally speaking, I didn't make this up, but it looks like that's the way the price, the market structure for Bitcoin is shaping up. And then, if you remember very well, I did mention that on the monthly charts that we did not succeed in breaking the 12-month moving average. This is the 12-month moving average, that red line. You can see that we tried for 3 months. We couldn't break it. We tried for the month of May, June, and July. The market went back up. In fact, that one for July was quite dramatic because it went back to the beginning of the close of the month of May. And from then on, we had this bullish engulfing, which signifies a significant trend reversal. And you can see that we're following up on that trend reversal. Generally speaking, I think that the month will close around the 50K range. We will get above 50K before the end of the month, obviously. But I think we're going to have a retest and probably close either above or at the 50K range. What would that mean is that September will just, blast off into the sky. Because if you are an institutional trader and you are trading on a very long term, you will expect that after a bullish engulfing, which is also known as a variation, you will expect the price to pull up, especially after you had a retest. This low week is the retest of the level at which the previous month closed. So now that we've confirmed the retest, because we've gone down, we didn't break down, and we've gone back up, I expect that once this closes around this level, then we will have a very long September candle, very long one. I'm not going to tell you what I think the end point will be, but very long. But if for whatever reason we close higher, much higher than 50K in the month of August, then it's going to be a very, very, very volatile September. Somebody asked the question, do I see any significant dip again before next all-time high? Yes, I see a dip on. So let me switch back to. So I see a dip around. If we hit all-time high before the end of the month, we will dip downward to at least 54K or 60K. If we don't, then we might not have that dip. But the way the market is shaping up, we are just barely mid-month, and we've been having this bullish candle. Bear in mind that we had about 10 days straight of green candles, as they say, of bullish candles on the daily chart. Never before happened in the history of Bitcoin. So there are some unprecedented moves that I think are in the offing, and I think it's going to be very rapid and very fast. So apart from the dip from the attempt of all-time high, so I think there'll be a dip once we cross 50K, and probably just after we try to attempt all-time high before it blasts to. Once it blasts to all-time high, then as they say, all hell will be let loose. In terms of what happened to my window? Okay. Oh, that's strange. This upgrade is messing up my computer. Upgraded my computer and seems to have been misbehaving since then. Anyway, so in terms of Bitcoin, I think we're going to see. Let me go back to daily chart. So I think we're going to see some movement upward, if not this weekend, then early next week, because on a daily chart, on a daily chart, you also see that same variation here. There's a bullish engulfing again, just like the one I circled here. So it's happened 3 times now. It happened here when we hit the local bottom. It happened again after the 10 days bullish run. Then it's happening again now. If we close like this, then you can expect the same way you had this long run, you can expect another long run for the next 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 days, depending. So we might not see that dip until we get to between 60 and 65, or we might see the dip around 50K. It depends on, what the whales want to do. Another metric that I wanted us to keep an eye on was Bitcoin dominance. Why is this important? Bitcoin dominance is important because it signifies whether we're having autism or not. I mentioned last week or 2 weeks ago that it was trying to break into 49, and I didn't look to me like it was going to break because as at that time it was already coming down, and we're on, I think, yeah, it was Friday, and we're already like 48. So I said I didn't think it was going to break through, and lo and behold, subsequent week it literally went down, corrected, and now this week it's been going down. Again, this looks like a variation, which means a change in direction of the market. If this continues in terms of Bitcoin dominance, then it means we're going to have some very vibrant altcoin movements in the next 2 weeks, or yeah, 2 or 3 weeks, before Bitcoin price starts, firing up significantly. However, if the price of Bitcoin switches and starts going rapidly, then this is going to switch over very quickly and start moving up. But I think we can still expect that Bitcoin dominance will come back to the 40-39 region before the end of this bull run. In terms of the price of Ethereum, hold on a second. Ethereum has been really darling, really. But because of the London fork, the upgrade on the London network, we actually had a very good run for Ethereum. So all those time that Bitcoin was breaking, I think Ethereum went all through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, almost 2 weeks straight with no price dip. Then it did another 4 days. Now we're consolidating. This suggests if we close like this today, it suggests that we're about to take another leg of steps up. Of course, if this happens, then altcoin season is about to break out, and you will see many of your altcoins come back from the dead, quote unquote. For the ones that have been in deficit, you see them go back to positive and probably start moving into profits as well. So generally speaking, I think we're fully confirmed in the second half of the bull run. And just for reference, I forgot to mention this blue line is the 200 moving average that's the bears have been talking about. So we broke down into the 200 moving average on 18th of May, and we broke back up just 3 days ago, thereabouts on the 9th of August. And even at that, I heard some people say, yeah, I'm not convinced. I need to see it go up significantly. But immediately we broke up. I mean, it just broke it up without any noise, really. After testing it once, it just broke it up, pum, and then retested it. Then at yesterday, it appeared that it was going to break back up, but you can see today it's taking back up, and it looks like we have a local support around 45K. So even if today closes this way and the market is bearish tomorrow, I think 45K is the local bottom for now, from the earlier bottom we had at 29K and 37K. So if you're going to see any dip right now, the only dip we can have if we don't hit 50K is 45K. If we hit 50K, we might flip 50K immediately, and 50K becomes like this 45K level where the market crosses over and then the market makes a resistance, a support. So that's that in terms of the charts. As I said earlier on, I have a class tomorrow called Bull Run Profits, and the essence of the class is for everybody that has been following me to prepare to take profits on their investments in crypto market this year and determine, have a plan. I said to us, well, just have a plan what you're going to do. You might say, you're planning for the long term and you don't want to, you don't want to cash out any money. There's still a way to maximize the gains and increase your portfolio, essentially. So for anybody who's taking my class before, it's a direct invitation, to join. If you're interested, send me a WhatsApp message. It's £100 per participant, but it might be the most important information you will get in this bull run because it helps you to make the decision in advance. Because when the market starts pumping, you will be deceived. That's the truth. You will get euphoric. You will get carried away. So, I mean, you look at your account is 70K, for example. Then you wake up the next morning is 120K. Of course, you will get carried away. So it's important to have a plan, plan the trade and trade the plan, as they generally say. And it's more important at this point because I think we're about to witness some spectacle. Let me use that word. Some things that have not been that will make the ear tingle in the cryptocurrency space. Things that will make your ear tingle when you see the price of Bitcoin. I think it's about to happen, and it's very easy to get carried away. We were a bit carried away the last time. I didn't think it was going to be a twofold bull run. I thought it was going to be just one full blast on altcoin, then we'll switch to Bitcoin and start going. But apparently, the market makers decided otherwise. So now we have this twofold, and it looks like it's going to come faster than we expect. So it's important that you're prepared for it. There's a saying in my language that says that um, the war or the battle does not meet the layman unawares if he's a smart layman, because it means that if he's been hearing about the battle, like it will happen in the olden days, then we have taken to his heels and escaped to safety before it comes. So this class is just to help you prepare in advance of that, and to know what to do when the time comes, and you're able to benefit the best from this bull run. So it's on that note, I would say thank you very much. If you have any questions that I'm not yet, yeah, please send in your questions on WhatsApp, sorry, on Instagram. You can type in your question. If you're on the Zoom call, you can unmute your mic and just ask a question. Thank you. So if you have a question, just unmute your mic or raise up your hand and I'll mute your mic. Okay. In the absence of any, in the absence of no questions, see you again next week for guys soda coin.
All right, I've got a quick question.
Yeah, go ahead, Ibrahim. No, yeah, we'll take it.
The September effect happening, because generally markets are, even in the stock market, they are generally bearish in September. Do you see that happening in this cycle?
I think this September is going to be a September to remember. Sounds like rhyme, but but I think it's going to be a September to remember for real. I understand what you mean, because September is usually like the end of the summer break when traders are coming back from summer holidays. So you'll have had the August blues where everything is just dragging and there's no liquidity in the markets. And all of a sudden, traders are back in September and they're still trying to, take their positions before, having a go at the final quarter. Bitcoin tends to behave separately or a bit differently. And the reason for that is because Bitcoin is not tied to, any regulator. It's operating 247. So because of that, it's pretty much operating on its own cycle. So like I said, we flipped a major moving average to the beginning of another bull run within a bull cycle within the bull run during an August break when people are supposed to be in summer, enjoying the beaches and having fun. And you see the price started moving rapidly. And if it does go ahead like that, the way it's going right now, I tell you, it will be a September to remember because it's very close to the end of the bull run. And when you're getting close to the end of the bull run, there are significant price jumps. So you can see a 10,000 candle, 20,000 candle in one single day. I mean, this is what history has shown us with bull runs, Bitcoin bull runs. So I don't think that's going to apply. I think, contrarily, this is going to be September to remember. You can quote me for that, but I think I'm very convinced that it is going to be September to remember. Somebody talked about Soda coin. There'll be a lot of coins coming out now. I'm checking it up now. It's 1.7 billion. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what. It's just one of those coins that somebody has come up. Yeah, connect online and offline world more closely together. The name sounds interesting, so that it will sell in the US apparently. It's done 800%. There will be a lot of crazy things. We've not seen anything yet. There'll be a lot of crazy things in the months to come. Right now, I don't think it's a good idea. Let me show you. Let me show you the graph on CoinMarketCap. This is what it looks like right now. You're already at the end of the parabola. You don't want to be here. You don't want to be here because it means that if it drops now, you will have lost 0.29. Yeah, you'll have lost 100%, or what am I saying? Almost 80% of your investment. If you bought in at the peak of this parabola and the price starts to come down, not a good entry. It might have been a good entry here, the same way AXS, when I mentioned AXS about 3 weeks ago, when it was $7. Fantastic entry. AXS is $70 now, or it has done $70. That's 10x. Between the time I mentioned it and last week is done, and this past week is done 10x. So, as a matter of fact, any coin that has not yet done this kind of thing right now, so I can give you like three actually off the back of my head. I think that's 1inch is a good example. So this is 1inch. This is 1inch in May when the price was at peak was $7. Now it's 2.5. So what it means is for this to go back to all-time high, it needs to do 200%. If you buy 1inch now, 200% guaranteed. I'll give you another one. Veracity. Veracity is 18 cents, 1.8 cents now. At the peak in April, May, it was 5 cents. Again, if you enter now, guaranteed 150%. So there are quite a number of them. It's just you need to position accordingly, and you'll be able to make some significant gains. Noye Barrow, you have your hands up. Please ask your question.
Yes, I do. Good evening.
Good evening, Noye. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. So I'm new to all of this, and I live in Nigeria, and I've been having some challenges with deciding what P2P platform that I can buy Bitcoin. So, because I'm sure we have the block with the bank and all of that, not allowing us deal with normal platforms. So I'm hoping I can get some guidance about how best to buy Bitcoins.
Yeah, actually, if you had joined us, let's say 2 weeks ago, what was that? 2 weeks ago? Yeah, I think that was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I was taking during the call, I was taking people on how to use the Binance P2P. And what I was saying was that with the Binance P2P, if you're in Nigeria, very easily you can, and you've already registered. There was an upgrade on Binance, I think day before yesterday or yesterday, that was making it difficult for people to get verified. But I think the upgrade is done now.
Okay.
If you sign up with Binance and you come to on your computer, if you come to P2P wallet, on the P2P wallet here, you can buy crypto from your Naira account. How does that happen? You go to P2P trading. In your P2P trading, you just specify what you want to buy. In this case, it might be USDT. It will give you that disclaimer, but it's okay. It might be USDT or Bitcoin. Usually I buy USDT because from Nigeria, it's cheaper to buy USDT than Bitcoin. So
okay.
You select NGN, you say you want to buy USDT, select NGN. And I usually select bank transfer because I don't live in Nigeria. So I can't do phone and all that stuff. Most of the guys that are merchants on Binance, use Kuda Bank. So if you had Kuda Bank, maybe an added advantage because it might be faster. And if I want to buy, I just select the amount in Naira that I want to buy. So if I say I want to buy 25,000 Naira, just as an example, and I use that as my search metrics, it will give me everybody that is able to sell me 25,000 Naira worth of USDT and above. And I usually don't go for anybody. I look for people like this who have a verified mark, and people like that have above 80. Usually I go for 90 and above in terms of percentage order completion, because that tells me that my order is likely to be completed. So if I say buy USDT, I can then say I want to buy everything that he has. Or I want to buy he has 120 USDT right now. That will cost me 62,261 Naira 43 kobo. He's selling at 514 Naira 70 kobo. Once I click buy, it will show me the details of this merchant and how to pay to his bank. So he will have his Nigerian bank detail. Once I send the money to his bank detail, what I do, because I use GTB, what I do is I send the money to his bank account. Then there's a chat box in the transaction flow. So I'll send the transaction receipts as an image to that chat box. Say I've sent it. Then it will ask you to click in another button to confirm that you sent the money to the merchant. If the merchant does not respond, you can flag the merchant. And that's why I use these guys, because guys like this, that is what they do as business. So they are very diligent and they would follow through on their transactions, and they are not scams. That's why they're verified and have, you can see this guy has 2,000 orders completed. This guy had 1,009. So usually those kind of people are reliable. What then happens is once you send them the money and you send them the evidence, most of the time they just release it. Other times they wait to see the money in their bank accounts. Once they release it, the amount of USDT, in this case 125 USDT, will automatically reflect in your USDT wallet. And that's the end. You have your USDT. You can now move it from your USDT wallet to your normal crypto wallet and carry out the transactions there. That's the 411.
Thanks a million. Thank you.
Yeah. So Ramat, you said for the P2P, you hear that express option is better to reduce the effect of being defrauded instead of verifying buyer percentage. Well, I've really not used, come think of it, I've not used that express option before. But the express option usually would mean that I have I'm going to accept any price that I'm being given. But what it then means here for this express option, the reason is a bit tricky, is that it's going to give me MGN, not in my bank account in Naira. It's going to give me MGN on Binance. I don't need it on Binance. If you get what I mean, I need it on my bank account. Either I'm buying or I'm selling. Or if I'm selling, I want to move it from my bank account to my Binance. So I've not tried it before, Ramat, so I don't know. But I usually just go ahead and look for the buyers, especially if I have okay. If it works, that's fantastic. If it works, that's cool. I really have not tried Express before because I just felt, I don't have the, what's it called? I'll try it. I'll try it. I'll give you feedback next weekend. I don't have the, well, how do I put it now? I don't have the relationship with Binance. So I don't know whether they have a way of, posting it across. But knowing them, I think I think they will have a way of posting the money to their account and vice versa. But anyway, that's how I do my P2P. If the Express one works, I will let you guys know.
Okay, so
Ramat,
can I talk about that a little bit? So it's the
Yeah.
same, it's actually the same way of using the method you just taught, right? But the advantage of the Express is that I think those ones in Express are like super what's it called? Verified by Binance. Do you get? So you, instead of you checking this percentage of like saying someone has done it by 100% or something, it's those ones they already have done the verification for you. So it is very hardly for you to be hacked by somebody using Express. But the drawback of it is that it's more expensive. The price they give you is the price that you probably would buy with. but you are sure that you will get the money. Do you get?
Okay.
So it's the same way. It's the same way you're doing your P2P. You don't have to send it to Binance account or whatever. It's the same way. You send it to person's account, person will send it back to you. It's just the same way. Nothing.
I see. So once I say confirm now, you show me somebody's account to send it.
Yes. The same way you do the normal process.
I see. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it must be like the major Binance distributors. Knowing our people, I'm sure there'll be people like that who are like express merchants.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine. That's even faster then. I've never tried it before because I just felt, that other option, I'm able to review, who has the best price and all. So this looks faster and cooler if I'm not worried about price. So there you go. An even faster option. Thank you, Ramat. Any other person have a question? Okay, David, you have a question.
Yeah, good evening, doctor.
Good evening, David.
Yeah, celebrate. Thanks for the wonderful update for today. I'm grateful. My question will be, how long are we looking at this for 3 weeks, 1 month, and so because like I shared before that before I turned my eyes one morning, I also had everything on my account was like bleeding, as in went back to like 15%, right? So I'm looking at what's the best time to catch up. I know I just came into the meeting, and are we gonna see that 3 weeks, 1 month, up to maybe October, November, and thereabout? Can you just share more on this, please? Thank you.
Well, I'm only just going to oblige you because you came late. So I have a course tomorrow. That's the main purpose of this course is to discuss what you just asked and
Really?
to explain the timings in the context of this particular bull run, so that you are able to take an informed decision. There are a number of parameters. It will be based on some dates. It will be based on some price levels, and it will be based on Bitcoin dominance. So those are metrics that we'll share in the class tomorrow. That's why I said on the WhatsApp group, I employed everybody to, as much as possible, strive to join that class, because that can make the difference between holding the bar for the next year's profits.
Okay, so what time is the class tomorrow?
5 p.m. Nigeria time.
5 p.m.
5 o'clock in the afternoon. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, PM me if you want to join the class. Mr. Ewa,
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Good evening, Doctor.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for this class. You have done a very great job. Well, my own short contribution is just to remind everyone that is there tonight that we may see pre-bull run and then we not see the bull run proper. So please don't get caught in the web of let you see a little profit and then you take it and run, and then the bigger one will come, and then it becomes a kind of, though yes, it's right, it's true that nobody can ride the market 100%, but at least you can do 80-90% of the market, which is still very good. So let's be guided. The next few weeks is going to be fantabulous in the crypto space. Lives will change. That's a fact. Those that have been holding tokens or coins for, some of us have been holding some coins since 2019, and we are still holding it. And then, it is just natural that things go up, blow up the top or the roof right now. All right, so that is one. Then secondly, Dr. Demi did a short a quick meeting about Zenith. I think last week Friday or thereabout.
Yeah.
My advice is if you are signed up on that project, try and pick your package. Number one reason is that know that Zenith is a coin that goes through what we call AFI every year by February. That's number one. And once AFI starts kicking in, then the volume you are mining right now reduces. That's number one. Then number two is that token may turn out to be another HNT token. That's my feeling about Zenith, going by the integrations that they are having and everything. It will be another Zenith. It could be another HNT. When HNT came, I think sometimes the HNT even sold at 0.0004 something. Currently, it's selling above $17. So, and of course, it goes through mining and staking also. To be a validator now on HNT, you need about 10,000 tokens. 10,000 tokens times 17,000. You know what that means. So I think this is a better way to quickly accumulate this token and then take advantage of it. That's basically, if you don't know how to navigate, I'm sure Dr. Demi is there to direct or help you to do that. But let us not miss any of these opportunities. I don't know if Dr. Demi shared something about CSS also. Hold this man, hold him tight. Let him give you all the things that you need. It is just very easy for people to make some unbelievable, life-changing gains this season that we are in. This season, we make whatever we want to make, then we prepare for the best season that is coming up very soon. But then let's enjoy this ride right now. If anybody have sold all the coins that already may have given in the past, if I were you, I would replace them now, so that it will not be like a case of one of my guys that bought Ethereum at $5. And then when Ethereum hit $50, he started jubilating. He sold all. The same year, Ethereum went to 1,004. They wanted to drink poison, because he bought quite a number of Ethereum at that time. So because of course, the same year, it just take a little bit of patience, for him to have cashed out a whole lot of, money. I call it riches of the Gentiles. So let's be guided. Let's do what we have to do, and then enjoy the bull run maximally, so that we can do big things, together. Dr. Demi, I know that thing that is ringing in your head. Don't worry, it will come to play. Thank you very much for this meeting. God bless you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Iwa. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention. Yeah, for people that attended the session on Saturday, I think you should go ahead and buy the package. And the reason I suggested that was, one, once you buy a package, it starts mining the token for you. However, the more you mine between now and February, the better, because after February, the token will halve, meaning that the rate of production will reduce by half. Now, that is a mechanism that has been borrowed from Bitcoin and has been working well. And I can give you like 3 other tokens that have halving mechanisms embedded in their algorithm. The prices are always going up, because what it means is that it's far more deflationary than even things like Ethereum, because it's dropping the rate of production every single year. And one thing I can assure you of is that after this blow off top we're going to have with the bull run, we're going to have a wicked bear market. Like, it's going to be brutal, because the prices will drop really hard. It doesn't mean that during the period that institutions will be accumulating, but the prices will be mad. So you don't want to be caught holding the bags, quote and unquote, when the prices are down. Why would you want to hold the bag? Why would not cash out, stay on the sidelines? When the prices starts coming down, then you start loading in by dollar cost averaging. But it's important to keep in mind, if I see you on my list, I've seen that you've registered for Zenith token, I will ensure that you go ahead and buy a package and start mining the coins. The good thing is that you can actually move the coins from the wallets on the platform to your own decentralized wallet like Trust Wallet or SafePal or my Ethereum wallet. For Dr. K that asked about top altcoins, I will tell you the altcoins tomorrow because we're out of time now. But bearing in mind that you're in the US, so there might be some restriction on some coins. For DeFi coins, you might not be restricted because there is still a very, very loose foothold on jurisdiction when it comes to DeFi. There are many DeFi platforms that are not bound by US laws because they're not located anywhere as it were. So, but I'll tell you all of that tomorrow. Let's make it a date, 5 p.m. tomorrow. The course again is £100. If you have attended any of my courses, you can attend now without paying yet and pay later. If you're interested in the course, you can PM me on WhatsApp or send me a message. That will be it for today. I would say have a lovely weekend, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day. Yes, look, man, VPN works but some people said VPN is not working for them on the WhatsApp platform. I think we can discuss that tomorrow as well. But VPN usually would work for most people who are in the US. So bye bye, everyone.